Hi, everybody. Happy Monday. For once, I know what day it is. Happy leading up to the solstice. There's a weird reflection on my glasses, but it looks kind of cool, so I'm going to stick with it. Hi, T. Kim Nu. Hi, Sandra. Lovely to see you, friends. What I want to talk about today is I just want to share some insight, some information that's been kind of swirling around about the solstice themes. We've got the solstice coming up on the 21st. In the Northern Hemisphere, it's the summer solstice, but I'm just calling it the June solstice. And we're going to pull some tarot, I think, also to, see what comes through in that medium, through that lens. But really, I just want to share with you, what I'm feeling as we're building up to the solstice on the 21st. I am offering an event on the 21st. There's a Linktree link in my bio for my Eventbrite event that I'm hosting. Becoming Light is the theme of it. I would love for you to join. It's going to be a really, really beautiful gathering. This one, there is a recording available. So if you can't make it live for whatever reason, if you have conflicts or if you're, your time zone, if you're on the other side of the world, then there is a recording available. I want to just kind of jump into it because these themes have been swirling through my experience. The clients that I've been working with have also been experiencing a lot of these themes. And, one of the beautiful things about my practice is that as clients show up and as, the groups and the gatherings that I work with and that I host, I get to see kind of what's happening collectively. And one of the most beautiful things that I really love, it's one of my favorite things about my practice, is that clients bring deeper understanding to me through their questions, through their issues or their challenges or whatever it is that we're working through in session. I get to see kind of what's happening collectively, and I get to see kind of where people are. And it's a really, really beautiful thing. And it also really offers me another layer of insight that I'm really, really excited to share with you. Give me an emoji that tells me where you've been. What's been going on with you? How has your experience been as we're leading up to the solstice? I know it's been kind of a mixed bag. For me, there are some signifiers and markers that always kind of signify to me what's going on. And one of them is when I'm feeling a lot of physical stuff, like my energy levels have been all over the place. Like I will feel super, an hour and a half of time where I can be productive and get things done and, be active. And then my energy just drops and it's nap time. Going on with my connection here. One of the other signifiers for me is, time becomes really, really weird. Like I've always had over the past few years an increasingly strange relationship with the concept of time, but it really becomes something for me when I'm in this big period of integration, which is where we are right now. And I'm going to talk about a couple of things. We're going to talk about the solstice in December and the 6-month cycle that we are closing. We're also going to talk a little bit about Pluto having returned to Capricorn. Pluto's been dancing back and forth between Capricorn and Aquarius and now is back in Capricorn until January of next year. So we have essentially another 6-month cycle. So 6-month cycles are really kind of a theme right now. And I always pay attention, like 3, 6, 7, and 9 are the numbers that often show up for me in terms of beginnings and endings. And this was something also we've been talking about. Hey, Bill, nice to see you, friend. This is something that we've been talking about in the temple, in the online group. We meet every Sunday. We have Temple Sundays, which is the gathering for temple members, which if you're interested in signing up, there's a link in my Linktree, and it gives you a week free if you're interested in joining. But we have a weekly gathering on Sundays. And the theme that was coming through yesterday a lot was finding the center. What is the center? How do we find the center? How do we stay there? And, my experience of the center, years ago in my awakening journey, especially in the beginning, to me, the idea of the center was a place that was, often I perceived it as a place that was always joyful or that was always happy, or it was like an oasis or, a respite. And it often was this sense of like, oh, I got to find my center so things can be better. Oh, I got to find my center so I can feel good. Oh, I got to find my center so this challenging thing or this awful thing or this horrible thing can end or be done. And I don't see that necessarily anymore. To me, the center now is just the place of neutrality. And the power of neutrality is a theme that I am seeing show up time and time again. And the center for me is where I find my authority. It's where I find my agency. And it's also where I find my own inner guidance that says, hey, Amar, this is just a moment of kind of hands off the wheel. Allow yourself to be carried and guided. Or, hey, Amar, now's the time for activity. Now's the time for choosing and acting and doing. Because we need both, right? The feminine is the being and the presence and the receptivity. The masculine is the doing and the action and the assertive and the outward force. And we all have both of them within us to varying degrees. And it's really about finding that balance. And to me, neutrality is the balance point. I think of unconditional love is the field that holds all of this together. And I do believe that at its core, source, spirit, that creator force is unconditional love. And to me, unconditional love is neutral. It just is. Right? The unconditional love and the allowance of beings in a human experience to do and choose and be and create whatever it is that they're doing and choosing and being and creating. And there is no judgment from that purity of unconditional love and neutrality. It simply is. Unconditional love is exactly that. It is simply a neutral allowance and acceptance and a presence of fullness in the midst of whatever is happening. And so the center is the balance point. The center is, if you think of a seesaw or a teeter-totter, and we have the feminine on one side and the masculine on the other, and oftentimes there's, we're going back and forth between our being and our doing, and sometimes we're really out of whack or really out of balance. And most of us do have an imbalance, right? Most of us have a tendency to lean into one or the other. But the center, the way that we find balance on the seesaw or the teeter-totter is in the center. Right? It's the equilateral triangle. The lower two angles are the masculine and the feminine, and then in the center is the apex, the pinnacle, which is the highest angle, and that's the dissension of the self. That's what I call the child, the pure, eternal, indelible self. So neutrality is a really big theme that's showing up right now. And one of the things that we were talking about yesterday in the Temple Sundays group was the idea of stem cells. And we were talking specifically about plant stem cells because one of our members is a really, really gifted homeopath. So for her, the plant kingdom and nature's gifts and nature's medicine are the language that she speaks quite well. So we were talking about stem cells and how, stem cells, and the idea of stem cells they are cells that are undifferentiated. They are simply pure potential. They are the cell that holds the potential for it to be anything: a leaf, a stem, a flower, a seed, a root, a thorn, a blossom. And we can also link this up to the idea of the superposition if we're talking about quantum physics and the idea of superposition. And this is linked to Schrodinger's experiment, right? Until we observe, because observing something is technically deciding what it is. The cat is alive and dead, right? Schrodinger's cat, that experiment. And so we also know that light can be a particle or a wave. Light starts off, can be a wave, and then it moves into density and becomes a particle, and then it can also move back into its wave state. So the whole thread here and the whole correlation between stem cells and the superposition is an atom or a molecule or a cell has the potential to be everything. And it is suspended in that 0 point field, that superposition, until it is observed, i.e. until we decide or judge or choose. And then the minute that we decide what this is, every other possibility collapses. And the minute, a stem cell differentiates and decides to become a flower, then all of the other potentials within that cell collapse. And it becomes a flower, and it begins to differentiate itself from its neutral state. This is just creation 101, y'all. In every moment, the field of energy that we move through and the life force, chi energy, source energy, whatever you want to call it, that is moving through us as a channel, it has the potential to be anything and everything. And when we allow it to be present, free from judgment, free from restriction, free from denying or resisting or grasping and reaching, we simply allow it to be. We stay in our neutral state. We stay in what the Buddhists would call the observer place, right? The cultivating the observer and just being in observance of all that is, without needing to decide if it's right or wrong, good or bad, without needing to judge it or create an opinion about it, because opinions also hold weight. Energetically, when we create an opinion or a judgment about something, we create something that is now within us, and it takes up space, and it is our responsibility and our accountability. So being in that place of pure potential is where we are right now. And with Pluto having gone back into Capricorn, right? Because Capricorn essentially is our institutional, governmental institutions and institutions of education and higher learning. Capricorn is an earth sign, and Capricorn is all about the good, the bad, the right, the wrong. Capricorn is all about working hard and putting in your effort and manifesting through physical action in the physical form on a larger scale, right? An institutional sort of monolithic scale. But we can apply the lessons from Pluto to our own experience and our own life and say, okay, what institutions in my life have collapsed? Where do I no longer invest my belief? Where do I no longer invest the power of my opinion? Where do I no longer focus my energy? And with Pluto having gone back into Capricorn from Aquarius, and Aquarius is an air sign. Aquarius is all about future thought. Aquarius, I always say this about Aquarians, and I have Aquarius people in my family and in my close circle. Aquarians to me are just like these aliens from the future who came back to show us a new way, a higher way. Aquarians are futuristic. They are progressive in their thinking. They are always moving beyond mentally. They're always about 20 steps ahead, Aquarians. And so with Pluto in Aquarius and Pluto being about transformation, Pluto being about kind of the underworld or the underbelly of our experience, both individually and collectively, with Pluto in Aquarius, it's all about, let's think beyond. Let's move beyond. And I'm also going to bring in a little bit of the conversation about our history right now, because through the mind is many things, but the mind is limited to a historical perspective. The mind has no frame of reference for anything it has not already experienced. So when we're in the mind trying to figure out what's next or figure out how to solve our problems, the mind can only show us what we've already done. So the mind essentially is limited to what has or hasn't worked already, but the mind is not the future thinker. The mind is not the one that's coming up with these epiphanies and these amazing, brilliant, life-changing or reality-changing ideas. So when we're in a moment like we're in right now, where Pluto is going back to Capricorn and it's asking us to review, what have you left? What is done? We're kind of poking dead bodies with sticks, saying, is that thing still alive? Is that thing still viable? The image that I was seeing yesterday that I was sharing with the temple group was, it's like the final walkthrough in an old apartment. And you've got all your stuff moved out, you're getting ready to clean, or you've already cleaned and you're there with the landlord and you're pulling open the drawers. Is everything gone? You're opening the cupboards. Did I get everything? Is it all clean? Are there dust bunnies, in the corners? Has the fridge been cleaned? Whatever it is. But through the final walkthrough, this is not where you're trying to decide where you're going to move in. This is the opposite of that. The final walkthrough is a release. It is a relinquishment of that chapter. It is letting go. The clock, I am in the office right now and there's a grandfather clock. So it's getting ready to chime at 10 o'clock. So get ready for, 10 chimes. So it's kind of disorienting because Capricorn as an earth sign is also very mental. But Capricorn is more about the here and now and the diligence and the problem solving and the getting it done. Capricorns are great with a checklist. And so it's this weird sort of disorientation right now from the old way. And Pluto in Capricorn is bringing back historical stuff or stuff that we thought was done or old ideas or old ways of navigating through the world. Not because we haven't done our work. Not because we're being punished. We don't live in a punitive reality. Sorry to all of the, the churches out there that say otherwise. You are not born broken and a sinner. But Pluto in Capricorn oftentimes brings us back to a review, especially when it's retrograding back to Capricorn. So a lot of us are going through this, wait, what happened? I thought this was done. Why is this old idea coming back? Why is this old belief coming back? Why is this old monolithic, institution knocking at my door again? You know what I say, the only reason anything ever repeats in your life, if you see something recurring or resurrecting or coming back, it's only for one reason, because you have new information about it. Because you have changed your belief about it, about yourself, about your relationship to things. And so now this old thing comes back and you go, oh my God, I see. I just used to be a person who was trapped in, unworthiness, or was trapped in, a belief that I couldn't be in love, or I couldn't be successful, or couldn't be fulfilled, whatever. So Pluto in Capricorn is another 6-month review, because it's from now until January of 2024 that we're going to be back in this review period. And we're also right now simultaneously closing the 6-month cycle from the December solstice. So think back to December, and I don't have my dates exactly, but I think also around that time was when Pluto was moving into Aquarius. So December in many ways, and the solstice in many ways, was like, oh, this is what I want for the future. This is what I want to bring in. This is what I want to create next. And I know for myself in December, I had a really beautiful experience of seeing a version of reality that I had previously only thought about and thought like, wow, it would be really nice to live that way, but I have no experience of living that way, so I don't understand what that means. But I got to see it firsthand and in real time in December. And this is another piece. I know I'm throwing a lot at you right now, but this is another piece. In a physical reality such as ours, we require a physical experience. It's not enough to think about it. It's not enough to talk about it. It's not enough to meditate about it and envision it. It must be lived. Here comes the chime. So when we're having a physical experience of something, a couple of things happen. A physical experience, number one, gives the body and the mind a historical viewpoint. Now the mind can say, oh, yes, I lived this. I remember what happened the last time this happened. So it gives us now a frame of reference, especially if we're seeing something for the first time that we have previously no experience of. Now the mind knows that it is possible. For the body needs to have the physical experience to create cellular memory and neural pathways and to bring it into our DNA, because DNA is more than, brown hair and blue eyes. DNA is how we pass on information, and not just biological information and genetic information, but experiential information as well. And there's studies that have been done about this all over the place, and I encourage you to look for them. So we're in a moment right now, and especially with Capricorn being an earth sign, and Capricorn relating to our physical things that we have built and created in our world. And we're having a physical experience of going through this. So back in December, many of us, and I would say most of us in some way, saw a glimpse of something new. We saw a vision of the future, or a vision of how something could be different or changed or evolved or expanded in our life. And there's another thing that happened in December, which is huge. In December, there was a massive portal that opened for the descension of our higher aspects. We here on the planet, and the frequency of the planet has been rising. We are in a different bandwidth of reality. We're in a different channel of reality than we have been in up until probably the past couple of years. It's been a massive acceleration. And I know I'm not alone. Give me an emoji if you can relate to that the past couple of years, especially the past 6 months, have been kind of a blur. It's like, oh my God, yeah, I know all these things happened, but where was I? Where have I been? My God, it happened so fast. So we're in this moment in December on the 21st when this massive chunk of self, essentially, because we have ascended to a higher bandwidth of reality, something that's clearer, something that's lighter, something that's less dense, now our creator self, higher self, soul self could actually come down into the body. And so we sort of met in the middle. We met at a point where our physical body was now able to receive this because we had been doing our work and because the environment now supported us. And that put us at a point energetically where now a bigger sense of self, a bigger aspect of self could come home and root into the body. So now we're merging with a lot of our higher aspects, a lot of our higher awareness, a lot of our higher self, if you just want to call it that. It's higher self, creator self, soul self. To me, it's all the same thing. It's the part of us that is the eternal, infinite self. For the past 6 months, since December and now culminating around the 21st, we've been in an integration process. Think of a software update. When you download the new package of information for your computer or your phone or whatever, it goes through an experience of unboxing itself, of opening itself up within the machine and giving the new information, the new operating system to your hardware. That's exactly what happened. This package of self, this package of light came in around the 21st of December. And over the past 6 months, it has been opening itself up. It has been revealing itself. It has been unboxing itself. And now we're in the period of integration, which also includes a bit of a reboot. Just like your device has to shut down so it can power back up and install the new software, that's what we've been in. And as we move towards the 21st, which if you're interested in joining the Solstice event, there's a link tree in my bio for the Becoming Light is the title of this event. So now we're in this period where this software is opening up within our hardware. Our machine is getting new instructions. And with Pluto and Capricorn, we are being given this opportunity to go back to some old perspectives. We're revisiting a lot of old things. Again, not because you did it wrong, not because you're a bad spiritual person, but because that is the beauty of spirit. We are always given an opportunity to see it through new eyes. We are always given an opportunity to see it through a higher perspective. That's what ascension is. Essentially, ascension is just returning to the purity that you've always been. And this time we're doing it while in a physical body. This time we're doing it while we're in form. So it's a lot different this time than it used to be, right? Ascension used to be, oh, boop, I'm dead. Okay, now I'm unconscious for 3 days. Woo, look at me, I'm resurrected. Now I'm all bright and shiny and new. We don't have the luxury of that this time. You know, this was something that my guides told me very early on. They said, Amar, back then it was Andrew, said, Amar, essentially what humanity is doing right now is imagine you're riding a bicycle. And while you're riding your bicycle, you decide that you're going to rebuild that bicycle into a sports car while you're still riding it. So how is that possible? Imagine the impossibility of that. And yet here we are. We're in our physical form, our physical body, while we're going through these magnificent and very, very powerful and really deep transformational passages. So it unearths a lot of stuff and it brings things to the surface very, very rapidly. And we often have physical symptoms of aches and pains and emotions and sleepiness and tiredness and being really, really excited and super energetic and then crashing. Drinking water right now is really one of the best things you can do. Getting enough rest is also really, really good. Eating foods that are as pure and as clean as you can access. Spending time in nature with your hands and your feet in the dirt. Connecting to what is real. So we're losing a lot of illusions. And one of the things that we were talking about yesterday in the temple gathering was, in many ways, what we are doing right now is unbecoming. Unbecoming the limited self. Unbecoming the self that was created through these limiting beliefs. And one of the things that I've been talking a lot about lately is this concept of normalizing the miraculous. Newsflash, it is not miraculous to live a happy, fulfilled life. It is not impossible to have the purity of your desires met. And this idea that somehow, only the lucky few get to be happy and fulfilled and successful and balanced and healthy and thriving and all of the things that so many of us are often reaching for. No, that is not miraculous. That is normal. That is everyday, because here's the truth. Spirit is not asking you to settle. Spirit is not asking you to dumb it down. Spirit is not saying to you, I can't do that. That's too big. I can't do that. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And we also don't need the middleman. Newsflash, you don't need the church for salvation. The church is something that man built. It's what humans built. The church doesn't necessarily have anything to do with God or the creator or the divinity of your understanding. So in many ways, and that's a lot of what Pluto and Capricorn is where are the middlemen? Where are the institutions that are saying, no, you need me? Really? You're like the fucking Dunder Mifflin. All you're doing, you're not making or creating anything. All you're doing is reselling something that someone else created and repackaging it and charging me for it. I can just go direct to the source. I don't need you, institution. I don't. You know, one of my big goals and one thing that I've been really leaning into as I'm creating this physical manifestation of what I call the living temple, one of my big motivators and drivers has been to get to the point where I don't have to go to the grocery store. Or when I do go to the grocery store, it's for very limited specific things. I want to grow as much of my food and as much of my medicine as I can. That has been my goal. That's been part of my dream and part of my Pluto and Capricorn experience of removing the middleman and getting back to, I want to buy direct from the farmer. I want to buy direct from the grower, or I'm just going to do it myself. So the miraculous is possible because you are a miracle. There's something like 30 trillion cells in the human body. It is a miracle to be a human. It is a miracle. So we're already living a miraculous experience day to day. And the reason that we don't see it miraculous is because the mind has an experience of it, an understanding of it. It says, oh yeah, big deal, you have a body. That is not some mundane thing. That is miraculous. So I think one of the first things that we really have to look at is where are our belief barriers to living a miraculous life? You have the vision, you have the dream, and then it's like 3 of Swords and the Tarot. And then the heart, the mind comes in and says, no, you can't do this. No, that's not possible. That's stupid. Don't be silly. But it is possible. And one of the most powerful things that humans have as a magical ability, a creative power, is living through the clarity of our example. And here's what I mean by that. 40, 50 years ago, the idea of a 5-minute mile was unheard of. Oh my God, no way. There's no human that can run a 5-minute mile. That's impossible. And then someone did. And then the 4-minute mile. Oh, no one will ever do a 4-minute mile. That is so outside of the realm of possibility. And then someone did. It's like the Olympics. The reason that we're seeing these records being broken over and over and over is because the mind witnesses another human doing it and the mind goes, oh, I guess that is possible. Boom, the belief barrier collapses. So think back again to December. Where were your belief barriers showing you or telling you that something wasn't possible? Because beliefs come from the mind. Belief is absolutely the realm of the mind. Because you can change your beliefs like you change your clothes. Knowing is something different. Knowing is it's in my body and I lived it, so I know it is true, and it has nothing to do with what I believe. So belief is a beautiful thing in many ways, but belief can also be the fucking thing that messes it all up. Belief is ultimately a limitation. So in December, when our higher aspects began to descend, we saw a lot of these belief barriers getting really rickety and really shaky. And that inspired us to ask a new question. Wow, maybe it is possible. How can I do that in my own life? How can I create a world that feels more like the one that I want to live in? How can I live as the example of what is possible when a human is connected to the truth of who they are and moves from that space? Because here's the tea. The Matrix and its architects and its controllers need one thing from you to ensure that the Matrix continues. They need your belief in your powerlessness. The Matrix and its servants need you to believe that you need them in order for them to be viable. Right? It's the old 60s question. What if we threw a war and nobody showed up? What if we decided that we're going to send our troops and then this side is going to send their troops and the troops got there and they said, actually, you know what? No, I'm not picking up a gun. I'm not picking up a weapon. I'm not going to do this anymore. So this idea that we need these institutions of limitation, these institutions of scarcity, these institutions that are transferring it from one place to the other and skimming off some for themselves and then adding on some, additional cost to the consumer. So we're getting fucked twice. We don't need them. And that's what they are terrified of. It's like Agent Smith in The Matrix. When Neo woke up and was like, oh, I see you. You're just a program. You're not actually a thing. You are a complete and total abstract creation that requires the Matrix to be viable. But the minute that I exit the Matrix, you don't exist. Right? This is natural, universal law versus the law of man, versus the law of limitation. So Pluto in Capricorn is really highlighting a lot of these old beliefs for us. So wherever you are challenged, see that as a blessing in that your history or your mental perspective is ushering you forth and saying, this is what you believe. Do you still want to live in a world where that belief is true? Because you can change your belief like that. And if you don't believe me, think of Santa Claus. For those of you who had a version of Santa Claus as a child, you believed it. Same thing with the Tooth Fairy and the Easter Bunny and whatever other mythological creatures existed in your childhood. You believed it. They're real. And then your parents say, actually, it was us the whole time. And then boom, that belief is gone. It collapses. So beliefs are disposable. Beliefs are interchangeable, and beliefs can be chosen. And beliefs can be discarded. And you can also exist without belief. You can exist in knowing. This is where we start to get into the difference between knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge is what you get in the classroom. Knowledge is what you read in the book. Wisdom is what you acquire when you apply the knowledge to your life. Wisdom is what is gained when you take something that you were told is true and you apply it to your experience and you see, is it true for me? Right? 4-minute mile. Your coach says you can't run a 4-minute mile, and then you do. So you go from knowing the knowledge that someone says that's impossible, and then you apply that to your life and you go, is it really impossible? I'm going to find out for myself. And then you do it, and that belief is no longer true. And it's that easy. But the problem is we often fall into the mental perspective, and this is where we are right now in these bridge moments, what I call the bridge moment. And when you're on the bridge, you're moving from one way of being to a new way of being. And when you're on the bridge, nothing really makes sense. And we don't understand it. And we may say, well, I know my old life is done. That thing collapsed. I got fired. I got laid off. I broke up with my partner, my wife, my husband, my girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. I ended that. But where am I going now? I don't know. And the first thing that 99% of humans do is we go to the mind. We go to the mind to try to figure it out. Where's my solution? I have a hammer and I'm just looking for a nail. No. That's like trying to get your email through a calculator. If you want to do something new, if you want to do something you haven't previously experienced before, you have to drop into your deeper layers of self and access your higher intelligence and your higher awareness. And you surrender to the not knowing and you say, Spirit, I don't know how the hell I'm going to get there. I know what I want. I know where I'd like to be, but I have no understanding of how to get there. So show me, remind me, guide me. This is why the emotional architecture is so important, because 99% of the things that we choose for one reason only, because we think of what we will feel on the other side. You don't want the car because you want the car. You want the car because it represents convenience, or it represents success, or it represents stability, or it gives you access. It gives you freedom. It gives you choices. Now I can go beyond where I can walk. Now I can drive there. Same thing. You don't marry the person. I mean, you may be, it may be an objective thing of, I think you're really sexy, but sexy doesn't last. Long-term healthy relationships are built on, I'm with him because he makes me feel fabulous. He makes me laugh because I love doing things with him, because he's a true partner, because he makes me feel smart, because I'm excited. And, energized when I'm around them. So the only reason you're choosing anything is because of what you think the experience, the energy, or the emotion is going to be on the other side. Even what you eat. Why do you eat it? Oh my God. Every time I eat this, it's like a full body orgasm and I feel amazing. That's why you eat it. So when you put the emotional, energetic, or experiential desire first, and you say, okay, Abraham Hicks, when you know what you don't want, you know what you do want. Okay, I don't want to be here anymore. Why? Because it feels limiting, because I feel sad, because I feel afraid, because I feel unsafe, because I feel bored, because I feel restricted, because I feel held back. Okay, what is the opposite of that? I want freedom, I want collaboration, I want community, I want authenticity. Bam. There you go. Now you write freedom, community, creativity, and authenticity on a piece of paper or a Post-it and put it on your wall everywhere that you can see it. And you remind yourself, my number one job is to find creativity, community, authenticity, and freedom wherever I can. Because the universe is not really paying attention to what you say. The universe is paying attention to how you feel when you say it. It's why love and light, oh my God, hate the sinner, hate the sin, not the sinner, bullshit. You're not being honest, you're not being true. I can see through your face, your false mask of joy and love and light, that you're really pissed, you're really angry. So be pissed, be angry. And allow yourself to have an authentic experience and then say, okay, what I want is on the other side, and I want joy, peace, creativity, and collaboration. I'm allowing myself to have the emotion, to have the experience so that I can reconcile it, so I can create a clear space within me and listen to the silence within me and say, okay, what are we really doing here, self? What is the point of this? What is the value here? Because to me, it's not about right or wrong, good or bad. It's about value. I am here because there's value for me in some way. I am here because I chose it on some level. That's the other thing. When you're in an experience that feels challenging or difficult or unwanted, one of the most powerful things you can ask yourself is, what part of me wants this? What part of me is fulfilled by these circumstances that I keep saying I don't want, and I don't want to be here, and I want to stop this, I want to end this, I want to change this? Okay, that's a legitimate desire. But first you got to get honest with yourself and admit that there's part of you that created this for some reason. There's part of you that is fulfilled by this. And it might only be a little teeny tiny part, but that's the part you've got to pay attention to so that you can hear the story. Why do I keep finding myself in relationships where I am not respected? And rather than trying to end one relationship after another and just finding myself back in the same situation of not being respected, maybe I turn to the part of me that is holding the belief that I am not worthy of respect. And I say, baby, tell me what's going on. Why is it that we keep ending up in relationships with people who don't respect us and we don't feel respected? And the part of you would say something like, well, because I don't think I'm worthy of respect. Because I don't know what it looks like to be respected. I don't know what it feels like to be respected. And for better or for worse, I'm kind of comfortable in that environment of not being respected because it's easy. It's mindless. I can do it in my sleep with both hands tied behind my back. So if you really want to understand why you are where you are, ask yourself, what part of me is fulfilled by this? What part of me desires this? That is Pluto in Capricorn. What part of us collectively has allowed the creation of these institutions that we are now fighting so hard against? We have to be willing to own and acknowledge that we had a hand in creating this. So Pluto in Aquarius that's coming back, she's moving back into Aquarius in January. We have this 6-month period to get really real with ourselves. And now that we have this dissension of self that came in the December solstice and is now really installing itself, integrating itself as we move towards the June solstice in just a week and a half, we have a really powerful opportunity now to remember that we are in a collaboration with ourself and spirit. We are in a co-creative partnership. So we can say, okay, self, okay, spirit, I saw a glimmer of another way. I saw a life Back in December, I saw a possibility that I had never really considered before, that I didn't think was an option, and now I see that it is. So how do we get there? And again, if you don't know where you want to go or what you want to experience, ask yourself from an emotional, energetic, or experiential standpoint. I want to feel free. I want to feel content. I want to feel loved. I want to be in collaboration, and I want to be creative. Bam, there's your recipe. And now you have a list and you say, okay, does this choice serve any of those things that I said that I want? If it doesn't, then I can say, nope, that's not for me. And not every choice is going to satisfy everything on your list of energy, emotion, and experiential words. But if it satisfies one, then you go, yeah, this fulfills me. So I'm going to choose this to see what fulfillment through this looks like. Yeah, there's an opportunity to be creative. Now I'm going to go try this thing and see how it feeds me creatively. It really is that simple. We've just been hogwashed and brainwashed and programmed to believe that it's all about the mental mind. It's all about knowing and having information and being correct. And I'm right because I don't vote for that person, and they're wrong because they didn't vote for my person. Can you see the fallacy of all of that? It's not about what you think, babe. It's not about your fucking opinion. No one cares. It's about what do you do with the life that you have? What do you do with the powers of creation that move through you? I am a vessel for the truth, the light, and the word. That's it. And when I allow myself to receive and to transmit that energy, that light, and that truth, that's when the magic starts to happen. It's not about what I think about it. It's not about my opinions. Yes, of course, I am a human, so I'm going to have all of those things. But I don't create from that. I create from my experience. And I go, I don't like the way that felt. I don't like the way that felt. So I'm going to choose something else that creates a feeling closer to the experience that I prefer. And it's possible. Because now that we have this dissension of self that is really, really taking root and unboxing and installing itself right now, we have our co-creative partner. Essentially, we're standing shoulder to shoulder. And I turn to myself and I say, okay, what are we doing here? Remind me. Remind me of my authority. Remind me of my agency. Remind me of my creator abilities that are inherent in who and what I am. Remind me that spirit is not asking me to settle. Remind me, Abraham Hicks, it's as easy to create a castle as it is a button. Do you really think the force that created all of this and keeps the planets turning and the seasons turning and the stars shining and the sun burning, do you really think that that force can't give you the life that you dream of? Can't create the path for you to walk forward? Because it's just you. You are the universe in a body. And whatever belief barrier you have that tells you that that's not true, or that, well, that's a nice idea, but it's only for those people. And because I am this, A, B, C, and 1, 2, 3, because of the lists of things that I believe are my hindrances or my reasons for not getting it or not having it, that's your work. Those belief barriers are up to you to clear. And people like me, we offer tools, we offer insight, we offer wisdom and reminders, but essentially my job is I hold up the mirror. And I reflect back to you the truth unequivocally. And whatever stands in the way of that reflection of your perfection and your pure divinity, that's the mud on the mirror. And it's your job to clean your mirror, my dear. Nobody else can do it for you. And I will hold the mirror up until my arms break if that's what it takes. But I can't clean the mirror for you. I can tell you, oh, this is what worked for me. This is what worked for some other people I know. Maybe start there and then you see and you try and you go, oh, actually that kind of works. Let me keep trying that. And then you find your own reason and your own recipe and your own set of keys. But baby, it's up to you. And as hard as it may be to accept, where you are was also a choice. Where you have arrived at this moment in your life was also a choice. And it may not have been the choice of go left or right, chocolate or vanilla. It most likely was choice over time. If for 10 years I choose to date people who don't respect and love me, that's a choice. So a choice over time just continues to divorce me from my center and my truth. And then I have an awakening and I go, wait a minute. There's another way. There's another choice. There's another possibility, and we return to the stem cell state. We return to the superposition. We return to the pure potential that it can be whatever you want it to be as long as you are willing to allow it And as long as you remember the truth of who and what you are and decide to move from that place, and as you proceed down that path of truth, there will be those old selves that erupt and say, oh, you can't have that. You can't have that because you look like this. You can't have that because you believe this. You can't have that because you don't have what those people have. And you can choose to believe that or not, or you can say, baby, I appreciate that opinion, but I don't believe that anymore. So that's really where we are as the solstice is approaching, is you have an opportunity to release and destroy those belief barriers. You have an opportunity to reclaim your agency and your authority. You have an opportunity to say, I don't think that works anymore. I don't believe you anymore. You know, our political situation is a perfect example of that. If just voting in the other party was the answer, we wouldn't fucking be here, babes. I'm 52 years old. I'll be 52 in September. I have enough of a lived context to see politically that things were kind of better for people, certain people, when this person was in office, and then the next time and they got voted out and the other party's person was in there, and then it got kind of better for the other people. But was it ever good for anybody? No. Not except the very few that were sitting at the top who are pulling the strings on all of it. The architects and the agents of the matrix don't give a shit who's in power because they control both wings. It's one bird with two wings. I use this as an example to say, if just voting in the other party was the solution to all of our problems, we would not be where we are. And we all love to be distracted by the dog and pony show. And then 4 years later, what? It's the same shit, but it's the other side of the coin. But no one is really better off in the long term. No one is better off in the end. Yeah, that's true. Two cheeks and the same a-hole. I love that. So where we are right now, being supported by Pluto and Capricorn, and we're going to draw some tarot now. Being supported by Pluto and Capricorn is an opportunity to allow yourself to let it go, to return to that state of truth and trust and understanding that, yeah, you know what, this didn't serve me. It only served me to get to the point where I realized how it didn't serve me, and now it's done. And I can let it go. And the way that we let it go is by loving it until it collapses. You just pull all of the parts of yourself close. Put your arm around all that you are, your arms around all that you are, and pull it in and give it a big hug. And say to it, I love you, honey. And tell me why you don't believe that's possible. Miracles are real, my dear. So please tell me why you don't believe that it can happen for you too. And that's where you begin. You begin with your own belief barriers. All right. Let's see what the cards have to say. And I'm just kind of randomly going to draw some cards to see what the themes are. I am doing private tarot readings. If you're interested, you can access my booking calendar through the link in my bio in the link tree. I have a new session available called The Deep Dive. And that's a 90-minute session where we go in deep into your field, into your stuff, into your inner waters. Tarot sessions are available there too. Again, the Solstice Gathering on the 21st, there's a link in there also. And donation link too. PayPal and Stripe if you want to use a credit card. If you're feeling like you're inspired and jazzed by this information, show me some love in the form of money. All right, let's see. Yeah. So the first card I pull is Four of Cups reversed. You know, Four of Cups often to me feels like, you know, and the cup is the heart, and Four of Cups is a shift. And to see it reversed, to me, what I'm hearing is this is all about your discernment. Is that what you really want? Is that what you really want? And not from the mind, but from the heart. Is that what the heart wants? Is that what the heart is asking for? And we see in the Four of Cups that these 3 cups are already full. And here's this person going, I don't know if I want that. I don't know if it's possible. I don't know if I can have it. But these 3 cups, as they're reversed, they're emptying out. So you're emptying out a lot. You're letting go of a lot. And so I think it's about allowing yourself to be in surrender to what wants to go, what wants to move, what wants to shift, and let it pour, let it out. I'm also getting the sense that there may be some big emotions that want to move through you, right? If the tears want to flow, let them flow. Those waters are healing. So 4 of Cups reversed, like what I'm hearing is, where can you be more fluid? Where can you stop resisting this little thing that's been trying to get your attention? Is there something that your heart's been asking for that you haven't acknowledged, that you haven't allowed? Is there something that no longer serves you, that is done, that it's time to move on from? Here's the analogy. Are you still trying to set up shop in the old apartment? Right now, we're in the final walkthrough of the old apartment, right? Okay, is it clean? Do I have all my stuff? Am I going to get my deposit back? Let it go. Move on. This is not the time where you go, actually, maybe I do want to live here still. Maybe I do want to set up shop here. Maybe just because it's more familiar and I know what it's like in this neighborhood and I know what it's like to live here. So maybe I do want to come back. No, dear. You can't. You can't. It's done. So let it go. I see this a lot right now, is the grief that many of us aren't processing, because it's the death of the old way. It's not who you are anymore. It's not where your energy wants to go anymore. It's not where your power lies anymore. And again, it's not punitive. It's not because you've been punished. It's just that energy moves on. Energy flows. We are in a creative, generative, fractal expansion called the universe. And source and spirit are always looking, and self is always looking for, what do I learn next? What do I experience next? What do I take? I take the knowledge and the wisdom and the understanding that I have, and now I pour it into something else. So 4 of Cups reversed is, it's time to move on. And maybe you don't want to because there's still that heart attachment. There's still an emotional attachment or a connection. And I understand that. But I think it's about allowing ourselves to process the grief. I'm also starting to see, for those during all of the COVID lockdown and all of the stuff that was happening over the past 3 years, there was a huge portion of humanity that was just waiting for it to go back to normal. There were a lot of people, when this is over, we can get back to. When this is finally done, we can get back to. We're never going back. It's never going to go back to the way it was. Sure, things have reopened. Sure, you may have returned to work, returned to school. Sure, now you have your freedoms back, so to speak. But it's not going to ever be like it was. And I think that's what a lot of people are dealing with, is finally the realization is hitting home of like, we're not going back. Okay, well, what do I do about that? Well, you grieve what was. You grieve what no longer is. So I think that's really a card showing up as you. I think this is what your energy is right now, 4 of Cups reversed. And then if I'm just looking at like what are the elements at play right now as we're moving towards the solstice, beautiful. 4 of Wands. To me, I always see the 4 of Wands as kind of like a homecoming, or not like a finish line, but you've crossed a threshold of some sort, right? It's a celebration. And the stability of 4. 4 is a very stable number, but 4 is also really comfortable. And I think that when we see the 4 of Cups reversed, I think it's, 4 is 4 right corners, 4 right angles, 4 stools, 4 legs on the chair or the stool, the 4 directions, 4 seasons. It's a very stable number, and it's easy to find ourselves within the number 4. And what I see here, and as I was talking earlier about the center, it's all about the center right now. Where is your center? And the center of your life. What is your life bringing to you? And the possibility, again, the potential is here. 4 of Wands is all about, it feels so good. Yes, I'm finally here. I've arrived. I'm experiencing what I've been working so hard for. But the wand is also the element of fire. The wand is also about the purpose. The wand is, I want to go there. I want to do that thing. Put it over there. It goes on that wall. So the wand and 4 of Wands, in many ways, when I look at that card, I see, it is your willingness to wield your fire and your power in a way that is responsible and accountable and benevolent. That's what brings in the fulfillment and the joy. So Four of Wands, I think, is a beautiful, beautiful card as we're approaching the solstice. It's saying, yeah, you can have the thing that you want. Miracles are possible. It is normal to live a life that is fulfilled. It is normal to have your desires and your dreams met. It is normal to be happy, balanced, and thriving. It's not a rare occurrence that's only for the select few. That's what they want you to believe. That's what the Matrix needs you to believe. Because if I also look at another card here, we have the High Priestess reversed. So where are you not believing in your own inner divinity? And the High Priestess, she didn't get here by accident. She's here because she decided this is where I'm going. And I'm dedicating myself to the study, and I'm devoting myself and showing up with willingness and curiosity, and I'm applying myself to this experience because this is what I want, because I know I am the divine. And the High Priestess is not going to trifle. Fuck around and find out. That's what I often think of the High Priestess. But to see her reversed, I really want to ask, where do you not believe in your own ability? Where do you not believe in your own divinity? And it very well may be because you're searching the mind. And the mind is saying, well, I've never been happy. I've never been fulfilled. I've never been anything but broke, sick, and miserable. So how on earth do I have a frame of reference for a life that looks like anything else? Well, you have to first believe that it's possible. And then you have to begin to entertain and cultivate the belief that the ability to create that is within you. Everybody walking around in a body right now has that divine spark within them. That's what keeps us sustained and alive. So when I see her reversed, my question is, where do you not believe in your own divinity? Where do you not believe it is possible? And where are you still, because this is the other thing, when we see the High Priestess, she is connected. She holds the secrets. She is between the two pillars. She is the balance point. She is the center point. She knows the truth of who and what she is, and nothing you say is going to change her mind. But to see her reversed, where are you? And again, the High Priestess, there is no middleman. The High Priestess is directly connected to Source. So she doesn't need someone between her and the divine to be the channel. She is the channel. So are you. The person up in the pulpit telling you that you need them to get to heaven, so to speak, that's bullshit. That's PR. That's just ensuring that you continue to give 10% of your time, your money, and your resources to the church so the church can sustain. But you don't need the church to connect to God. You don't need the church to connect to the divine. This is your church. This is your temple. So where are you not trusting and believing in your own truth that you are the universe in a body? You are the divine spark in form. And then I see temperance. Temperance to me is often like a break, right? It's I can take some respite. So what I'm getting the sense here is allow yourself to listen to the call of what the body wants, what the emotions want, what the physical self and the energetic self want. Do your best to honor that, but then also temper that desire to vacate. Temper that desire I just got to get in my love and light. I just got to get in the vortex, maybe, or just let yourself be where you are. Just let yourself be where you are. Without a need to resist or to heal or to fix or to change or deny. Just be present. Just be where you are. And, one of the things I love about temperance is that's Archangel Michael. And we see the path is there. The path is laid. And the shining, beacon on the horizon is still there. So you'll get there. That's the promise. That's the guarantee. So allow yourself to go easy. Allow yourself to be carried. Allow yourself to be tended to. Right? This is a partnership with the divine. You are in a collaborative, co-creative relationship with self and spirit. So when you don't know, you say, Spirit, I just need a minute. I can't do this right now. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I'm emotional. I'm lost. I'm confused. And be there. Or you say, Spirit, I thought I knew how to get there, but I lost it. I lost the thread and my map isn't here anymore. Remind me. Help return me to the center. Guide me home. Just give me a light, right? Just give me a beacon. Leave a light on in the window so I know where to go. So I think that as we're approaching the solstice, we have some really, really powerful opportunities, and this experience of integration and union with ourself. You know, the title of my gathering on the 21st is Becoming Light. The link is in my link tree. And if you want to join, it's going to be, I think it's an hour and a half. And really what this is I'm not connecting you with anything outside of yourself. The Becoming Light is about you really opening up a space to connect with yourself, to receive an infusion of the light that you are directly from your source. I am not a middleman. I'm offering a space where we can gather, but you are already the divine in form. And I offer these gatherings to help you remember, to remind you, or to give you a space where you can connect with others who are also in communion with their own light and their own truth. That's what it's all about. And also, when I see the solstices and the equinoxes, they come in pairs, right? They're like bookends. So again, remember, we're completing a 6-month cycle. Whatever was coming in or, falling away for you in December, this is kind of the culmination of that timeline. And a solstice and an equinox offers an opportunity to level up. It's like in video games. You have your save point. Okay, I can finally have a save point. I can save all my progress, and now I won't have to go back. And that's what Pluto and Capricorn is offering, is this opportunity to revisit, right? The retrograde of Pluto back to Capricorn is like, oh, yeah, now I remember why I don't do that anymore. Now I remember why I don't fuck with those people anymore. Now I remember why I made those changes. And it can also show you things that are incomplete, where you go, oh, yeah, I forgot about that part. It's like the final walkthrough. Oh, shit, there's a box in here. I completely forgot to check this closet, and there's still stuff in there. Okay, cool. Now you have an opportunity to clean it out, open up the box, decide if you even still want that stuff anymore, or just move on. But where we are is an opportunity, a return to the state of neutrality, a return to your center and the stem cell and the superposition state. And the differentiation that happens in the stem cell. That's one of the beautiful things, is if you look at a stem cell, or if you look at something suspended in a superposition, it looks quite still. But inside is a lot of potential churning. It's just waiting for a choice, for a decision, for an observation. And then the differentiation begins. And you are, I am, we are all collectively in a process of differentiation from who we were. I'm no longer the person who puts my power and authority in other people's hands. I'm no longer the person that believes that all I have to do is vote for the other party and then everything is magically better. I no longer believe that if I give you my time, my resources, my energy, my awareness, and my love, that you're going to do what you say you do. I learned my lesson, and I don't trust that. I trust myself. And if myself is saying, no, go grow your own food. Learn how to cook. Learn how to bake. Do for yourself. Then I pay attention to that, and I do. And guess what? That's when the magic happens. So belief barriers are real. And we are in a state right now where you have an opportunity to push up against those belief barriers and go, I don't think that's true. That feels a lot more rickety than I initially thought. It looks like it's a mountain, but I think that's just a painting of a mountain on a piece of cardboard. And all I have to do is push it over and I go, see, it was just an illusion the whole time. It's the Wizard of Oz. It's the man behind the curtain. So as we're approaching the solstice, be kind, be gentle, be compassionate with yourself. If you need a day off and you can, take it. If you need some quiet time and you can create it, find a way to do so. If you need an extra hour of sleep or a nap or a big old gallon of lemon water or some really healthy, vibrant, fresh food, do what you can to bring that to yourself. And if you don't, then you say, Spirit, please open the door for me to make better choices. Open the door for me to remember that I can create what I need. And show me how to dismantle this belief barrier so that I can get back to my center. I can get back to my truth. I think that's it. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with me today. You can go to my profile here on Instagram if you want to follow. Again, the link tree in my bio gives you access to my events calendar if you want to make a donation, if you want to book a session. If you follow my podcast, the luminous.podcast is my other profile here on Instagram, and you can follow that for podcast updates. I do have a couple of new episodes that have come out recently, all about this concept of miraculous living and how to choose miracles. Again, the event on the 21st, the Becoming Light event, it's a Wednesday evening. The link is in my bio, and anybody that signs up will get a recording of the event, so you can replay it if you can't make it live. You can find me on Insight Timer. That link is in my Linktree as well. That's where all my sound healing files, my guided meditations files live. And you can listen to those as many times as you want. I love you. Thank you for hanging out with me today. I hope to see you on the 21st at the Solstice Gathering. Love you so much. Have a great week, everybody.